Hold on. I had to make this twice now. Now we are good. Alright, so I'm going to start this off by saying this video is not financial advice. Anything that you hear on here today is not an indication for you to buy or sell anything. All this is simply a documentation of my own trading journey. Now we're going to start this off with, first of all, Starkwise. You were supposed to get this video yesterday. This is got that from a lawnmower. Just trying to fix it. Still not fixed all the way, but you know, it is taken down for the most part. Stock-wise, okay, main stocks here that I always talk about: Ford, Levi, Coca-Cola. Okay, Circle's in there too. FNGR and GBUX we'll talk about as well. Okay, so the first thing, only things I've done recently is I bought more Ford because it was at a good level. Still is at a great level. Excuse me. Levi, we got into there around $16, 16 something. We had about 17.8 contracts in it. Ran up 20. I said it was probably going to 23. Went up to 22. It's coming down now. Personally, if you're looking to, I'm not telling you what to do, but if it was just me and I had money and I was waiting and I didn't have any exposure, I'd cut it in half, put half in it now, and then wait because it could come down a little bit more. Coca-Cola is kind of the same way, but that sleeping giant is what I like to call it right now because it started to wake up because it's just been consolidating. Consolidating is like when you just trade in one, like a range, like let's say you go up, like you just go up and down $1 for an extended period of time. For right now, it's been doing that for about, I want to say 5 months, but it looks like right now it's actually starting to break out. So again, we got in there around 67, 65. It's at 70, 35, 70, 45, something like that. Some agency, I want to say firm, came out and they gave it an outperform buy rating. They see it going $83 a share. Okay, so again, I would play that one like Levi because it's like I said, it's been trading in a weird kind of formation. But what I will say is the options are cheap. All these are year-out options that I'm getting. All these companies I'm talking to you about right here, these main ones. Options are cheap, but when that thing starts moving, it moves dollars. Okay, and the reasoning why I picked the majority of these companies that we're talking about is because I see these being the companies that go and they'd be the first ones to include Bitcoin on their balance sheets. Okay, not only that, but also when they do something like that, these companies aren't known for making like ginormous moves. So one, get this right, one, they already I see them performing decent, right, on their own. Two, I see them, they're the good old American companies, okay, and I see them being like, oh yeah, we're gonna follow suit, we're gonna do what America wants to do, woohoo, whoop whoop, whatever. And they're gonna put it on their balance sheets, okay? That's gonna make people come and it's gonna make the premium on those options way more money, okay? So, oh my, this thing is moving. Okay, so those are the main ones. I got you on Levi, got you on Coca-Cola, got you on Ford. Wolf, almost forgot about that one. That's my Bitcoin miner play, but it's also heavily manipulated. Okay, so that's the extra kick out of that, right? Didn't add any more there, but right now that is a great position to add because it's right over the 200 MA. You don't know what the 200 MA is, you're gonna have to look it up, okay? Because I've explained it before over here, and I don't think I have enough time to do it again because I'm trying to make this not that long for you guys. Another one that I don't really buy options in right now is Circle. Circle is USDC. USDC is a stable coin. Okay, remember when we talked about a couple of the top rated stable coins? RLUSD is the one A, USDC is below it with a B plus. PayPal is actually above USDC. Okay, doesn't matter. Regardless, there's this thing that Wall Street does, okay, to keep things going, and just because it's a money thing. So they play trends. Okay, so one of the trends that's about to start coming right now is this crypto trend. Okay, and this crypto trend is going to be any company saying we want to put this on our balance sheet, or any company saying basically they want to do what MicroStrategy is doing. What MicroStrategy is doing, all they do is they go and buy Bitcoin. Okay, they're a Bitcoin holding company, but if you buy their stock, they're basically like, it's like buying Bitcoin on leverage. Okay, which is basically just more volatile. So if you want greater exposure than buying Bitcoin, supposedly you go buy MicroStrategy stock. The CEO is Michael Saylor, so I always get it mixed up. Either way, Circle's one of those plays, and I remember when it first came out. I believe I told y'all about it around 180, 170 or something like that. That's a $500 stock. Give it some time. All these bills are set up, but give it some time to get this play in motion. Okay. So we'll come back to the stable coins, but remember, FNGR, GBUX, these companies right here, these are my. I don't see them so much as performing well, but I see them as they have a lot of value because they're heavily manipulated plays. Okay, so when they go, I'm thinking that they're going to go and do numbers. Okay, because they're again heavily shorted, heavily manipulated. All right, so let's jump over there to let's talk about this stablecoin thing. So if you're unaware, there's something that happened last week. So those bills, yeah, they got signed, and everybody's thinking about. I don't want to say the wrong things, but you're not seeing the whole picture. Everybody's like, oh, this is going to make Bitcoin go crazy. This is going to make Bitcoin go crazy. Yeah, Bitcoin and all the crypto. All of crypto is a space that if you don't understand yet, or if you don't see it already, or if it hasn't gone up high enough for you to realize this, that space stands to make a ton of money. And it's more so of the technology than it is of what you think it is, okay, or what you may think it is, okay. And another thing that really happened last week is there's financial warfare going on. So you got all types of warfare. One of them that is always apparent and is always going on behind the scenes, and they're always fighting for footing, is financial warfare. Specifically, we're going to talk about, if you ever heard of the reserve currency. Right now, people say that the dollar is the reserve currency. I say air quotes because it's kind of not really the reserve currency. It is out of fear, but it is not the best option that you can go to at this moment in time. Technically, nothing is at this moment in time because nobody's fully developed the next step. Okay, so now we're going to talk about. Just hold on to that. Okay, we're going to talk about this. So with these bills that just got signed, the main thing that's about to start happening is the U.S. dollar. They're talking about putting it on the blockchain, so you get your stable coin. So you guys didn't want CBDCs. Okay, cool. You didn't get CBDCs. You're going to get, but what you are going to get, the US dollar is going to be put on a stablecoin. Okay? And the entities that they're going to use to establish this, don't know. It could be anybody. But here's what I want to tell you here about the CBDC thing. The only thing, so you're about to get all this infrastructure, all this stuff set up to have that, right? You don't want a CBDC. The only thing that's stopping from whatever they're going to have set up for this, the only thing that's going to stop that from being a CBDC in the future is going to be a signature. Okay, an executive order or a couple of signatures, and guess what? Everything that you set up from the next person that's in charge or whoever, whatever happens, that's all that's going to need to happen for that system to get switched over and now be a CBDC. Okay, you need to understand that because that's it literally is a CBDC without it being a central bank's dollar, okay? But you still have, it's the same concepts. They can do the same things that the CBDC people that you fear that they can do, okay? They can do the same exact thing. Now, back to the central bank backed dollar coin, which basically would be the Federal Reserve. Here's the deal. The US right now runs on a system that is outdated, okay? And the reason why I said the US dollar is, yes, the currency, it's the reserve currency, but not really, is because you have new technology that other countries, China, Russia, are using, okay, which do business way better and way faster than the SWIFT system, okay? You run off of a system right now from the Federal Reserve back in 1913. Now, to be fair, is the Federal Reserve evil? I'm not going to say evil, but ever since they were established in 1913, go look at the value of your dollar. It's diminished, all right? So I'm not going to point any fingers, but, if you want to say that is the reason, you have a fair judgment to say that the Federal Reserve is the reason for why that dollar is looking how weak it's looking right now, okay? So introduce Big T and his bills that he has set up, what they're gonna push now. And like I said, you can go see the video. These people, when this stuff had happened, when these bills were signed, they were at the podium speaking about this. The payment system we're about to get a new revamped, upgraded payment system. What is that? There's only one way it can be revamped and updated. There's only one type of technology that can beat that now, and that would be blockchain technology. Now, who has the infrastructure, in place to facilitate these cross-border payments that they specifically said, okay, what they're specifically talking about is Ripple. Okay, Ripple's the only company that has it set up. Likewise, I just want you to know the digital yuan and all those other BRICS nations that have their own stablecoin set up. Who do you think helped them set up their stuff? Again, Ripple. Ripple helped them set up their stuff. Okay, if you're now starting to make a connection of why Ripple itself was in a lawsuit for so long, you can kind of see that. Okay, what Ripple was trying to do with them and these systems wasn't just going against the U.S. in that. Okay, it's going against central banks. There's central banks everywhere. There's a Federal Reserve almost everywhere. It just so happens that places that don't have a Federal Reserve, or all the places that, BRICS nations. That's all of them. All the ones that refuse to have a Fed. Those are the ones that everybody has been demonizing for years. Okay, go figure. Now, what you need to know, and how I know that China is trying to take over that, is you just look at signs. One of them is to be the reserve currency. Okay, anybody that's doing dollar swaps, and it literally is what it sounds like. If you do trade deals or anything, and you should be using the dollar, you should be using the reserve currency. China hasn't been doing that. Not just China, a whole bunch of other countries haven't been doing that for a long time, maybe a couple of years now. All right, they've been doing it their own way. Okay, so on top of that, there's people that hold our debt. Okay, so whoever holds our debt, they're helping us out. But when these people unload our debt, that makes your dollar value go down. China is the second or third largest holder of our debt. The first, I know for a fact, is Japan. Japan's hurting, China is not. Okay, one of the main reasons why China is innovating and doing things like I told you about. A whole bunch of other people talk about their deep sea ports and everything like that. They got 50, we got 2. I don't care about any of that. Like, does it? I should. I feel like I should, but I just haven't gotten to that level of caring about that yet. Like, I already understand and grasp the general concept, like what's going on, and basically, what's really happening here. It's a battle for reserve dominance. Okay, so China this whole entire time has been dropping our treasury notes, right? And it's been killing our dollar, which is pretty much already dead. Okay, but they went from levels unseen before to now they're basically at 2008 levels. So just understand that that's really, really low amount of debt that they actually hold. They've been selling it all. Fun fact, they've been selling it all, and they've been buying a whole bunch of gold. Okay, and the reasoning is their digital yuan, most of those BRICS nations' digital currency stable coins, they're backed by gold. Okay, how do you think the price of gold is hitting all-time highs? If you didn't know that, now you know. $3,400 is what I saw today. $3,400. Why do you think that's hitting that? It's because these guys they've been buying it up for years. For years they've been buying that. Gold just didn't just gold's more valuable. No, they're buying it all. Okay, because that's what they're going to use. Now, and this is funny because you can kind of correlate this to what they're probably going to do with Bitcoin. Because you got to understand, so we're doing financial warfare, right? So one side US, to make it simple, the other side China. Okay, our stuff right now was backed by our treasury notes. So what they do, they held a whole bunch of it. They've been strategically dropping it to peg our price, diminish our price, whatever they wanted to do. That's what they've been doing. That was their strategy. So in the future, I'm not saying this is happening right now, but just imagine this. And people are already talking about it, and we talked about it before. Every time, what do people call Bitcoin? This is gold. This is better than gold. This is the digital gold. Da 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 da. Everybody that has gold, all those old heads, they're gonna come for. Okay, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna make Bitcoin and crypto, specifically Bitcoin, right? Not saying that they're gonna be the most performing, but they're gonna make that look very attractive, very like as attractive as it can be to justify your financial advisor telling your grandpa or your father why he should dump all his gold reserves that he has and go buy Bitcoin. And one of those main reasons is, one, the government's going to buy it. Okay. 2, all these companies are going to start buying it. Okay. 3, the dinner bell. If you don't remember the dinner bell is like, hey, 0% capital gains tax on crypto. That is the dinner bell. Okay. And they're going to use that. Now, they're doing 2 things at once. One, they're pumping up Bitcoin. But 2, what are they really doing? If you're dropping your gold, they got their stuff backed by gold. Okay, you understand? You can possibly get a depegging out of that. One of those nations over there depegs, it's gonna be, I don't know what it's gonna be. We all gotta sit there and watch. You know what I'm saying? Because they could have anything set up right now. But what I will tell you, Ripple, now a normal company, right? And Ripple is a normal tech company. Okay, if you have some new important tech that you just came out with, right? They come out and they tell their people, because they have shareholders, right? And they tell them in detail what they have and how what they have is going to impact and be good for you. That's why you should come and buy us. Ripple doesn't really do that. Ripple has something planned. They have stuff set up. But this is the funny thing. Anybody that's a big XRP guy, you ask them what Ripple does, or like how they conduct business, or why they're better than their competitors, and they can't really tell you. And that's not really their fault. I mean, you could do some reading on your own, and you figure out the best way that you can. But these guys don't directly communicate like that. And why is that? I don't know. It's almost like it's secretive to a point. Same way when they came out this stablecoin bill, did they just come out and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a US stablecoin. This is how it's gonna be set up, this is what we're gonna do, it's gonna go through here. They didn't tell you none of that. This is financial warfare. Okay, this stuff is basically like a security, what do they call that? National security, right? It's like it's you don't let them know what you're doing until everything is set up already. So that way your competitors, if you have any, can't like come in there, not just copy you, but try to undermine you from doing what you're already doing. Everything is secretive. That guy was in the White House, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, in the White House. Okay, there's clearly, and then at the ceremonies, these companies, these guys are here. Okay, they have a new, think about it, they have a new way for payments. And again, all this really is, they're talking about cross-border payments. It enables them to do trade deals with their partners, right, at a way cheaper level than they ever have before. That is the main thing. That is the majority of the money. Okay, the how they're going to cater it to you is going to be, hey, like I told you, instead of you getting paid every two weeks, every month, however you get paid, now we can pay you every day, or every time you clock out, or every minute. You know, you can do that with stablecoin tech. That's the only technology that's out right now that can facilitate that. And there's only one company that has the infrastructure and partnerships already set up that can facilitate that. And that just so, you know, it just so, man, it is hot in here, isn't it? It is hot. There's only one company that can do that for you right now. There's only one group of people that have been setting that stuff up, okay? That's all I'm going to tell you about that. And then, but what you need to know about this, okay? So why this stablecoin thing is a big deal. I don't know about you, but America is not really, they're going in this trend of they don't really care, is what I want to say, so much about allies and everything like that. They don't want to be reliant on anyone. It just wants to be them and them alone. Regardless if that's right or wrong, I'm just, you know, looking at it, that none of that benefits me. Okay, I'm looking at the stuff that would benefit me right now. Okay, and the main thing that I see from that, the narrative that they're pushing and how they're trying to act is, yeah, China's dumping our treasury notes. Okay, Japan's about to blow up. Just saying, somebody's gonna have to come by and buy this debt. So what is the one thing that they just so happen to add out there? Oh, by the way, these guys, these stablecoin companies, you know, you gotta have proof of reserves. You know, you have to have, if you're saying the stablecoin is $1, you gotta have stuff behind it that shows that it is valued at $1. Oh, well, you can just buy our treasury notes and just use that as collateral. Do you understand? So countries can't hold our debt, don't want to buy our debt. That's fine. You don't need them anymore. We're just going to have these stablecoin companies buy our debt. So you're thinking, oh, there's no way they can possibly buy enough. Oh, they can. For what they're trying to do and what they're trying to replace, think about it. They're done with the Fed. Okay, they're not gonna, I don't think they're just gonna be like, oh, the Fed is dismantled, this and that. They want that Jerome Powell guy out of there. He wants him out of there. He wants to put somebody else in there, that somebody that they can, all you gotta do is like just get in there, don't print anything, keep the rates at whatever the heck he wants to do with the rates until they can come out with a new system to where they don't even need to do the rate cut thing. Okay, just sitting here watching just like you are, but you got to brainstorm. Okay, so they're trying to set up an entity that can basically do the same thing that the Fed can do. Okay, and the whole premise of this dollar thing is this: it's like I said, the Federal Reserve established in 1913. Your dollar value has dropped ever since. With this new way, this new stable coin, not only were you talking about, oh, we're going to gain our reserve currency, right? But they're talking about, instead of it going down, they're talking about the value of your dollar going up, which it would. If you're not printing anything and you have a new way that's better than everybody else's tech and you got all the infrastructure set up, there may be other companies that can do what Ripple can do, but not any of them are set up the way that Ripple is already set up. All the partnerships they have, you can't just go make another BlackRock, okay, and have them, you can't just create that. There's only one BlackRock, and they're in bed with Ripple, okay? That's just how that goes. So people are going to use it, and we might trade on this because the US dollar overall, when this all gets set up, and if they do things the right way, yes, it can add value. And two, the main thing that you got to watch for is, again, we talked about this, the debt. if the debt somehow reverses course and you can somehow erase half of it, which you can do that by holding certain cryptos and promoting promoting these coins, get people to buy them and having the value go up. Okay, is ridiculous. Now another thing, going back to Ripple, they hold 35 billion XRP in escrow, and all that escrow means is they got it and they can do whatever the heck they want to do with it. Now, what I'm about to tell you is this: what they're going to use it for. A couple of things. Okay, I've been thinking about this for a minute, but one of them is, let's say this company, like we talked about in the other video, they want to buy 1 million XRP. Okay, and the only way I'm going to go and buy XRP from another place that's not like a main exchange is if I can get it for cheaper. So if you want 1 million XRP, it's trading for 4 or 10 or 15, right? And I tell you, I'll give it to you for 2. Cool. But what does that do for Ripple? Okay, what if Ripple's like, yeah, you know what? We'll give you that XRP, but you got to sign this piece of paper right here. Well, what's it say here about I got to use your system for the next 10 years? Yeah, that's our deal. They can easily do that. Or what they can really do with it, right now, 35 billion XRP is worth like 140 billion dollars, right? That price goes up to 1,000. That price goes up to 100. You're talking trillions of dollars. Okay, that's country level money to now buy these treasuries. Do you understand? They're gonna use that. They're gonna use that XRP for one of two things. Okay, they're either gonna use it to buy treasury, or they're gonna use it as proof of reserve. It's probably gonna be a combination. You can use it as treasury, proof of reserves, and you can use it to facilitate new trade deals in the future. Okay, that's the lowdown on that. All right, do I got anything else to tell you about X? Okay, another thing, Elon, his X app. You gotta understand that there was language talked about. There was language talked about. I'm just saying all kinds of stuff today. That's my fault. But there is language talked about in that bill to enable him to do what he wants to do. Now, side note too, because we're going to talk about this comes with Elon. The board of the people on Ripple, go look at where they came from. All ex-White House, all ex-Fed. Okay? When you're looking at companies, when people are buying companies, they go and they look at the board to give them a generalization of what a company is trying to accomplish. Because you get your board members for not only what they can do and they can talk, but it's really their relationships that they have already. Okay, you want people that have good relationships for whatever piece of business or piece of whatever you're trying to do. Okay, you're getting these people to help you with connections to be able to get you in that space more. All right, the good ones anyway, or companies like this specifically. But back to Elon. Elon's from PayPal. Yeah, he didn't buy PayPal, but he knows PayPal stuff. And the only thing you need to know about PayPal is they know payments. XRP, that's the main thing that they are, is a payment provider. Okay, the infrastructure. If he makes that app a place where he wants it to be able to, where you can do everything, stream, all kinds of crap. But the main thing here is payments. Okay, he knows what the best payment technology is. He's going to know what the best technology looks like. And he is definitely going to have the best tech. And the best tech isn't paying stuff the old way that they used to. The best tech is using blockchain technology. Okay, so who's he going to get to facilitate, to operate on their guard? I don't know, you can get anybody. It's probably going to be Ripple, though. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, I'm done. Listen, I'm going to try to be more consistent with this. I've been thinking about it. I really don't like it. I'm saying? I do this for the whole circulation aspect. I'm saying? This is just really a documentation of what I do. But if somehow what I know and what I brainstorm about, and I watch these videos for my own personal thought process. Okay. But ideas are not like mine. Nobody's ideas is their own. Everything that you see out right now, it started out in somebody's head if you really think about it. So, I thought, why not just put it out there for everybody to use, and maybe I might get some feedback. Maybe I might find people that think like I do and have, it's very hard to come by people that this stuff kind of interests them. And I thought this was an avenue to where I can kill multiple birds with one stone. Okay. And then also just get this stuff out of my head. So I'm not just yapping all the time. So I'm not just telling everybody everything that they really probably don't want to know. Okay. So, but I will be more consistent, even if there's nothing to really break down. Maybe I'll get on and, we can talk about the Fed a little bit more. Some of the stuff that I say I don't go into detail about, but I know a whole lot of information on. And it's just, to me, it's just interesting. It's interesting what these guys have set up and what they do. And I guess what stuff really means. Okay. And all right, that's all with that. But, I'll try to do like a video a week. I know I said it before, but, I'll try a video a week, man. I'll give it a good I'm trying to be more consistent with things, so I'll give it a try. Okay. It won't even be a try. I'll do that. Okay. One video a week, you can, or unsubscribe. I'll give you a video a week, or you can unsubscribe to the whole 135 people that subscribe. All right. I'm out of here. Be easy.